And a very good morning to you, Grenada, and the rest of the world as we begin the brand new week here on the Spice Hall. Beautiful Sunday morning here, man. As always, just before I take the hot seat here, stand on the balcony for a minute or so, just giving thanks. Take a look at the beauty out there this morning. Very quiet, placid Monday morning here in the Spice Hall, and I do hope that your week's going to be filled with the same. I'm George Grant, and time now to launch into today's edition of Gudday Grenada. We're going to begin this morning with the crisis. A crisis, yeah, in Grenada's legal system. We're also going to have a look at the national report, which came in on Friday evening. And guess what? He's back. He's back. Anthony DERIGGS takes another look at Christmas. It's kind of funny, as always. And of course, this being a Monday morning, we do have the Caribbean literature quote of the week. Okay? So that's what we got lined up here for you this morning. Those of you who joined us yesterday for our weekend edition of Sundays with George Grant were obviously hooked on what you heard. We had a couple of people in here yesterday. Lisa Taylor, who is the president of the Grenada Bar Association, and she was joined by Mr. Leon Taylor, no relation. And they were talking about the legal crisis here in Grenada. Now, Lisa has been very vocal, about the situation. And for those of you who missed the program yesterday, you can go on back to the GRENADABROADCAST.com website, which I think you are at right now. And just go to the Sundays with George Grant archive. Now, the program there may not be in its entirety, but if you go to YouTube, Grenada Broadcast on YouTube, you'll also find it there in its entirety. The reason why Leon was here is because Leon has been a victim of this crisis that we're talking about in Grenada's legal system. Okay? The backlog in cases waiting to be heard in the local court system continues unabated. Yesterday, you heard a rather revealing discussion by the president of the Bar Association, Lisa Taylor, and someone who has felt firsthand the devastating effects of the current state of affairs, Leon Taylor. Leon, for those of you who may not be familiar with him, is the former owner, one of the former owners of La Source Hotel, which is today known as Sandoz. It was a rather scary discussion, which stimulated further fallout even after the program had ended. So last night, I sat and pulled out a few clips from that session, put them together into one little piece, and I'd like to share them with you this morning. Here goes.
Justice in Grenada, justice delayed is justice denied, because what happens is that by the time you get a judgment, sometimes there are a lot of people who have died. Mm-hmm. 3 of my of the 5 original investors in the source have passed away, and
sometimes before you get to trial, critical witnesses die. Yeah. That's another aspect.
And by the time I lost the hotel, so by the time I get judgment, I can't regain what I lost. So that's what they mean by here's a case of justice delayed, justice denied.
I have been listening to the utterances of public officials on this, and I'm very upset about the fact that there seems to be this tendency to want to gloss over this particular crisis that we face now. Gloss over it to the extent that it's being neatly dismissed as a little problem of us having to vacate the Lime building. And it's not that. this is a problem that historically has plagued us. It has become more acute in recent times because of what happened in 2004. But 2004 to 2018, it's inconceivable that we should still be resting this issue on the back of Hurricane Ivan. We've gone through, in the Grenada court system, periodic backlog reduction exercises in recognition of these tremendous delay periods. I have known of at least 2 since I have been at the bar, and they've had some positive impact, but it seems every time we've made a positive step in reducing the backlog, to whatever extent, I don't have the statistics, some other intervening event or events come along, and we're back to where we started, and sometimes maybe far worse. We just concluded, when I say just recently, a jurist project, and that was one of the projects intended to address the backlog. So special judges were set up as part of this project, special courts. We were the beneficiary of additional courts simply to tackle this backlog, and some headway was made. I don't have the actual case number, but I know that several cases were disposed of. And now we're back to a situation where, as of May this year, for an extended period, we were without a court at all. I mean, I don't have to explain to the Grenadian public what it means to any backlog of cases where your courts are not functioning. So in May of this year, for reasons which I think certainly to the local population are notorious now, the facility we used, the former Grentel building, Lime building on the Carenage, had to be decommissioned so that the civil courts were not sitting at all, and for a time both civil and criminal courts. The court proceeded on its usual long period of vacation, being the end of July, and we expected to reopen the courts in mid-September. That did not happen. In fact, it was only until the 22nd of October that we were able to find a temporary facility in the Parliament building, which is not a court, I hasten to say. It is a temporary facility where a single civil court is operating, and operating within the parliamentary schedule. So that means that whenever the Parliament has need of its facilities, the court literally is booted out. We experienced that recently with the sitting of the Senate. We experienced that recently with the whole budget exercise and the throne speech delivery. So even that limited opportunity we have to be functioning as a court is interrupted because the Parliament needs its building from time to time in its entirety. We were able to resume the functioning of a single criminal court, and that's at St. John Street. And that's as it is. So I have the expectation that when all is said and done and when all the statistics are calculated, we will find that we may have surpassed the backlog which was reduced recently through the jurist project. And that is why I say, among other reasons, this is as bad as it's ever been. It's difficult for the public and the lawyers and the court staff to navigate those circumstances. And we have literally vetted every conceivable building you can consider within the St. George's area. And it's specific to St. George's because the hub of the court is the registry. The Supreme Court registry is the engine room of the court. And it is very, very difficult, as has happened when we had to be at the Trade Center. And people have been saying, well, why don't you go to the Trade Center? The Trade Center is not a court. If Mr. Bedeau needs to have activities for which he has contractual obligations, guess what? The court doesn't sit on that day. So you have these continued interruptions.
More delays.
You have court staff having to traverse from Church Street down to Grand Dance with court files. The files aren't delivered. The matters can't go on. And so we've said we're not prepared to accept those scenarios any longer. We need a space in St. George's because we need that proximity to the registry so that you can have a fighting chance that the matters can go on in a timely and efficient way. And we've located such a place. And so at this point, we are pushing very hard for the government to conclude negotiations so that we can all be housed in that facility. We gave the government a deadline of the 31st of December of this year for that to happen. It is manifestly not going to happen by that deadline. I can't say as I sit here when it will happen. We have been lauded publicly for our cooperation on this issue, but I think lawyers are losing patience, and something a little more than cooperation may have to manifest in order for the government to realize that this is a far more serious problem than their actions have suggested and you're going to hear from the government say we're doing everything, and I heard the minister expressing confidence in the last budget debate that this problem will be resolved. Well, we're losing confidence.
On the point I was making, the damage to the thing, I wrote as a closing paragraph of my first article, Grenadians are likely to be shocked to learn that the World Bank rates Grenada at the bottom of the barrel relative to its CARICOM neighbors in the ease of doing business, and Transparency International's Corruption Perception Index for Grenada rates the island as more corrupt than its Eastern Caribbean neighbors. Given the state of Grenada's court system, one can expect the island's ratings to fall further. What then are the long-term consequences of for the island if the court situation persists?
Good question.
Right? You see, people don't realize the damage that is being done, right? Things reach a tipping point for them to realize. And when you reach a tipping point, it's too late.
Yeah.
Right? And we are approaching the tipping point in so many aspects of the society.
Very sad situation, isn't it? Very, very sad situation. Now, the entire interview went for over an hour. And if you are at all interested about, what really is happening here, I'd like to suggest that you take a look at the entire file on YouTube, okay? You'll also get that much on Facebook as well. On Facebook this morning, by the way, I see that Beverly is there. Beverly saying good morning, George. And Ronald Alexander is also watching with us this morning. And out there on the other platforms, I see that there are people in Germany and Brooklyn, New York, and Far Rockaway, New York, Manhattan, Mercier, and Canada, North York in Canada, and a few other places as well. So thank you so much for joining us. Let's take our first little break, and then we will return with the National Report.
Hubbard's, bringing you Frigidaire Christmas cheer. With the purchase of any Frigidaire fridge, freezer, stove, washer, or air conditioning unit, you get a free 3-piece Frigidaire non-stick pot set. Come into our appliance department on the Carronage and Building Supplies Grandans to get your trusted Frigidaire products and enhance your cooking this Christmas. Offer available while stocks last. Hubbard's, quality service, affordable prices.
Spread some cheer and show you care with GRENADA'S Give-A-Wish promotion. Do you know someone who has had a challenging year and deserves some good fortune, or a worthy cause that needs extra support? Grant them a wish this holiday season with GRENADA'S. Just pay your bill in full, then write their name, address, and phone number on the top portion of your bill. Add your phone number and drop it into the wish box at any of our GRENADA'S customer centers, or you can enter online via our Facebook page. 15 customers will receive a $500 electricity voucher for giving a wish to someone who deserves it, and 15 winners will each have their wish granted, valued at up to $1,500. What's more, 230 lucky customers will win $75 electricity vouchers. Spread the cheer this year with GRENADA'S Give-A-Wish promotion. Visit our website or Facebook page for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Promotion ends December 21st.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Why wish upon a star? For a bank is better by far. Whatever you're wishing for this Christmas,
Co-op Bank is making Christmas wishes come true. Fix up your home, treat your loved ones, and get everything on your Christmas list this year with our no-fuss loans. As we count down the 12 days to Christmas, you can win awesome prizes every day. Special terms and conditions apply.
Christmas wishes come true with Co-op Bank and you. Welcome home.
Okie doke, folks. It's 16 minutes after the hour. On Facebook, both Irene Rattan and Lydia James are saying good morning to you, folks. Nice to see you, ladies. Margaret says on the box, good to see you, Mags. She says, good morning. So I was thinking, if the registry is the hub of the court, how about digitizing the records so that they are available online, thereby reducing one of the problems? Margaret, you got to be thinking to do that. Benign Neglect says good morning, and Fitzroy Adams says it's the same thing. The government continues to use Hurricane Ivan as an excuse for the state of agriculture in Grenada 14 years later. But let us take a serious look at the budget. Money for agriculture is at the bottom. You know, that's a conversation I hope to pursue with Mr. Dunstan Campbell, who is the senator representing agriculture. I'm going to try and see if I can get him on this weekend. I'm not sure that I will, but I'll give it a shot anyway. Interesting point you raised there, Fitzroy. Thank you so much. Okie doke, folks. Let's get into today's edition of the National Report.
Government and workers' representatives bodies to meet again next week. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Friday, December 7th, I am Rikisha St. Louis. The Pension Engagement Committee and the public sector trade unions and staff associations have agreed to meet again next week to continue discussions on the subject of pension. However, no date has been agreed upon. The unions are also expected to submit proposals for government's consideration. At their meeting of November 27th, both the government and the workers' representative bodies recommitted themselves to finding an amicable solution to the issue. It was also agreed that there will be no industrial action while the negotiations are ongoing. Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, is alarmed and saddened by an attack on the hardworking and patriotic public servants of the Ministry of Finance by Senator and head of the Trades Union Council, Mr. Andre Lewis. In his budget debate presentation in the Upper House, Senator Lewis suggested that the figures presented by the Ministry of Finance was somehow not a true reflection to guide the government and unions' negotiations over gratuity payments. In commenting on Mr. Lewis's remarks, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell said it was irresponsible, unfair, baseless, and inflammatory, and that Senator Lewis showed utter disregard for the diligent staff of the ministry, who are also represented by the trade union movement and are therefore constituents of the same trade union leader who is attacking the ethics. He says the suggestion, therefore, that the staff of finance was not forthright with the information and advice presented to the Pension Engagement Committee is wholly unfortunate, and the finance minister wishes to register his disappointment over the trade union leader's callous disregard for his own workers, who Dr. Mitchell describes as among the best workers in the public service, consistently going above and beyond their remit. Government will introduce a new category of wardens to assist in the enforcement of policing the 2018 Litter Act. The amendment to the 2018 Act was brought before the Upper House on Thursday by Senator the Honorable Dr. Winston Garwe to include the traffic wardens. The abatement of Litter Act enforces penalties to ensure the promotion of a clean and healthy environment. Senator Garway explained that 3 categories of workers are currently responsible for policing the act. They are the police, public health inspection officers, and forestry officers. He said even though the bill was passed back in 2016 and has not been enforced, a lot of work has been done.
The Abatement of Litter Act seeks to introduce or to put in place a category of persons who will be responsible for, as it were, policing the city, your towns, wherever within Grenada, Carrick-on, Petit Martinique, to ensure that our people dispose of litter properly. And they're given the responsibility to charge the fixed penalties, as you say, a ticketing system towards ensuring that our citizens comply with the Act.
According to Senator Garway, the inclusion of the traffic wardens is a major boost for environmental protection.
We could see the value of giving such powers to the traffic wardens who've been there already, who will be assisting with parking and the regulating and controlling of the traffic, the flow of traffic. So they will be on the ground already. We're thinking, it's our belief, that seeing that they are there, that additional duty to assist citizens to comply with the Litter Act will be an easy fit. And in so doing, Mr. President, I want to introduce today that powers is given to the traffic wardens.
Leader of Government Business in the Senate, Senator Simon Steele, gave support to the amendment.
It is a highly efficient way of being able to combine services of traffic wardens who are out in town in generally urbanized areas. And if knowing that a lot of the litter that is generated is also from motorists is in those same areas, then there is a commonality in terms of function. And this is seen as an important step forward and an important enabler for us to start the enforcement of this.
This is the National Report. We'll have more news after the break.
Big business don't participate.
And finally, beekeepers are encouraged to join forces to take advantage of opportunities that may not benefit an individual, but everyone involved in beekeeping. That encouragement from the Ministry of Agriculture and Lands. Jerry Malcolm tells us some of the plans in place for the Grenada Association of Beekeepers.
The Ministry of Agriculture convened the meeting to resuscitate the now inoperative GAB, the Grenada Association of Beekeepers, for a more unified approach to beekeeping for greater collective benefits.
Opportunities are available for the beekeepers, but individually not every one of them can access to them. So having a stronger organization means that they can fully take advantage of all of these opportunities that are outside there to benefit not only the beekeeper, but Grenada as a whole.
The ministry's recommendations were welcomed by the beekeepers.
I have had
markets opened up to me in Canada, the US, Barbados, I had to let it go because I can't supply it. So we are not competitors. It's just a matter of working together.
Willing to volunteer in every way possible to help bring that back to its feet.
I'm glad that we're talking about moving forward together because there's lots of things we can do as an association.
I would hope at the next meeting, right, we'll be prepared to have an election of a new executive body, right? Whenever that meeting is held, because we already have that, it's just a matter of contacting these people and say, look, we are ready to move forward with the association.
Honey production is just one aspect of the ministry's interest in beekeeping. Apiculture Officer Kwesi Williams says they're equally interested in the contribution of bees to the wider agricultural sector, often overlooked.
The contribution that the bees make to our economy is great, greater than what we more realize, because they're responsible for 1/3 of the world's food. So imagine if we had no bees in Grenada, a lot of the crops and things like that, which is pollinated by wind and water, would take a long time to be able to reach maturity that they can sell. But with bees now, it helps speeds up the process, and therefore it makes it even greater for our farmers and them who will have a faster turnover.
The beekeepers have agreed to reconvene early in the new year to get Gab buzzing once again.
That story just ended the national report for today, Friday, December 7th. Let's recap the top story. Government and workers' representatives bodies to meet again next week. On behalf of all those who made this newscast possible, I am Rikisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.
Okay, folks, there you have it. Today's edition of the National Report. Now, just let me explain something here in case you missed it. Rikisha was referring to this week when she talked about the PEC, the government's negotiating team, and the unions getting together again next week. She was actually referring to this week, because as you know, the National Report, we air it the morning after it's released, except on the weekends. That release you just watched came out on Friday, and hence the reason you're only seeing it this morning. Let me turn back here to Facebook for just a minute. Those of you whom I have already greeted this morning, please join me in welcoming Claire Antoine. Hello, Claire. Thank you for joining us. Lori Bridgman says, stay up, Grenada, stay up. Benign Neglect says, stand up, sweet, sweet Grenada, stand firm. Thank you, Benign. And we're also being joined this morning by Yvonne Joseph. She's saying good morning. And right now, I see 2 eyes and 2 ears. And those belong to somebody by the name of Bernard Gilbert, joining us on Facebook as well. You know, while I was reading through the Facebook posts while you were listening to the National Report, and I thought, you know, a lot of these people out there, I may not know. Who knows? We may have met at some point in time. But if I saw you on the street, I wouldn't recognize you. For example, I cannot say I know Bernard or Yvonne or Benign Neglect, you know. So do me a favor, folks. I like people. I really like people. And if you ever see me on the streets of St. George or wherever one of these days, you would recognize me because you see me on Facebook, YouTube, wherever. But I may not recognize you. So please, if you don't mind, just say, "Hi, George. I'm Bernard," or "I'm Yvonne," or "I'm Claire," whoever. I'd really like to meet you people. It's nice to know who you are. On the other platforms, we're joined this morning by the folks out there in North York, Ontario, Canada. Toronto is with us as well. Lanham in Maryland is also with us. And Ruislip in England also with us this morning. Pilgrims, take a little break here. And then relax, put your feet up, and get ready for a chuckle from Anthony DERIGGS.
With free island-wide delivery, Hubbard's Building Supplies and Lumber Departments continue to provide the best quality lumber, steel, tiles, plumbing materials, electrical, and general hardware supplies at competitive prices. We continually consult with builders, homeowners, and contractors to improve product range and services. Enjoy discounts where applicable, including the use of credit and debit cards. At Hubbard's Building Supplies, Grandans, and Lumber Department, Caranage, we offer quality service, affordable prices, giving you the convenient, reliable, free island-wide delivery. Call 440-2087 for all your home improvement and building solutions.
Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company, tell your friends, tell your family. We cover householders comprehensive, motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability, and wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
Spread some cheer and show you care with GRENADA'S Give-A-Wish promotion. Do you know someone who has had a challenging year and deserves some good fortune, or a worthy cause that needs extra support? Grant them a wish this holiday season with GRENLEC. Just pay your bill in full, then write their name, address, and phone number on the top portion of your bill. Add your phone number and drop it into the wish box at any of our GRENLEC customer centers, or you can enter online via our Facebook page. 15 customers will receive a $500 electricity voucher for giving a wish to someone who deserves it. And 15 winners will each have their wish granted, valued at up to $1,500. What's more, 230 lucky customers will win $75 electricity vouchers. Spread the cheer this year with GRENLEC's Give-A-Wish promotion. Visit our website or Facebook page for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Promotion ends December 21st.
Why wish upon a star? For a bank is better by far. Whatever you're wishing for this Christmas, will give you low interest and no fuss.
Co-op Bank is making Christmas wishes come true. Fix up your home, treat your loved ones, and get everything on your Christmas list this year with our no-fuss loans. As we count down the 12 days to Christmas, you can win awesome prizes every day. Special terms and conditions apply.
Christmas wishes come true with Co-op Bank and you.
All right. I see here on Facebook, Lydia James is saying to me, "George, do you know me? I was a security officer at MBIA for many, many years." Lydia, like I said, maybe. I have to confess, I don't have the very best of memories, okay? And yeah, there are people I may have met years ago and don't remember, but I've also met a lot of security officers at the airport back in the days when I used to travel a heck of a lot. But I don't. So again, please, you bump into me on the street, say, "Hey, George, it's moi." Yeah? And I'll say, "Oh, hi there, toi. Nice to meet you." Folks, here we go. With the Christmas holidays just around the corner, it would be most unusual if Anthony DERIGGS did not turn his attention to the season. A couple of days ago, we played a piece about ham. Remember that? Had everybody in stitches. Well, he recently put together another one of his homemade videos, and I'd like to share that one with you this morning. As usual, listen carefully, because there's some food for thought in there. Here we go with Anthony's Christmas Recollections, Spicy Grenadian Christmas.
Spicy Grenadian Christmas. Recollections. It was the night before Christmas. Like Charles Dickens in his book, A Christmas Carol, it was the night before Christmas. And the wooden Morris chairs were a glittering dark brown. The floor was a mirror, glowing brighter than the glassy marble we used to pitch in the backyard. Hours of sandpapering and polishing had left elbows and hands aching. What the heck, it was Christmas, and Granny and Mammy wanted the place to look nice. Now the sorrel and the ginger beer were already made. Grandma was beating the ingredients to make the black Christmas cake in a large bowl. Watch out! Somebody was always willing to fight for the bowl. The batter was as tasty as the baked product, and greedy eyes were watching. And the ham, well, you leave with the ham, you leave with Christmas. Something salt must pass in your mouth, according to Chogdas, the Trinidadian Calypsonian. It is hard to separate ham from a Grenadian Christmas. Even Rastas, who said they hated pork, man, they used to hide and tear licks in the ham. Now there was one hell of a big tree on the esplanade in St. George's. It bore a yellow fruit. It looked like a berry. And there was another one in Tantine. Who remember that one? I'm sure, pretty sure, there were more in other parts of Grenada. They used to wrap boxes with gift paper, we call it Christmas paper, and tie them up on the tree on the esplanade. As a child, the temptation was always there to jump down one of them boxes to see what was inside, or hope that one would fall. That tree bore abundantly, but people were afraid to eat the fruit. A friend of mine once told me, boy, you know the blasted thing what we got to eat is the man that make up rules about what good and what not good to eat. I said, you go ahead and eat. Tell me how it is. Now we had another tree. Well, that was a real Christmas tree. Man, it gave us the smell of pine. The smell of pine that you associate with Christmas. And it put us in the right Christmas mood. Well, that was the tree we decorated and put a car or other toy between it. Well, these days you can't put that for these kids. They have to get them something like a computer. Times have changed. We were fond of a little 25-cent gun. We used to bust the shots. Sometimes you bought a roll of shots, man, and the thing would only bust a few, and if it got wet, well, it ain't busting at all. And we played with these the toy guns, but we never end up killing anybody when we grew up. On the night before Christmas, we took our starlight and we lighted the starlight. Some children send up rockets in the market square in St. George's. Boy, when policemen saw that, they got vexed. Vexed the same way they get vexed with bus drivers. One time one caught me and he told me I was the one who sent up a rocket. But I didn't know anything about that. Nobody believed me after a while. Well, Grandma used to get annoyed if we lighted the starlight in the house. All you want to burn down the house? Well, by the day before Christmas, the cards were supposed to have arrived from America, Canada, or England. My great-aunt Sylvia, well, she never failed to send the cards. And the cards, well, they were pretty, man. Pretty cards. Snowflakes and Jack Frost on the outside. Well, don't forget the outside. We didn't worry about that, man. We would look at on the inside because that was our Christmas money. And the words in the cards, man, they were good, nice words. Words like chestnut roasting on an open fire. But you know what? We were constantly roasting breadfruit and corn, so we didn't bother too much with this chestnut thing. On the night before Christmas, carols were everywhere, carols everywhere. The Belmont Steel Band, Angel Harp Steel Band, they took to the streets the day before Christmas, and young men, and on Christmas Day too, young men and women, them, and they whine to the song, "Oh, Christmas Tree." The parang, you can't leave that out, in Spanish came through loud and clear from 610 radio. Well, we used to tune into the radio station in Trinidad, 610. And we were thrilled with the voice of the Moonlight Serenaders. Well, Christmas Eve come, and there was the big midnight show at Empire and Regal Cinema. And at Empire, Big Bear standing near the door to pit, telling people, the show sold out. What? Man, time to filter John. Oh, that was Christmas. John was stale pea and rotten egg, all those things that they prepare before Christmas just to annoy people's nostrils. At Christmas time, nobody smoked Phoenix NEN cigarette. Phoenix made a cigarette factory on the wharf. You smoke NEN, no filter. But they didn't worry about Phoenix Christmas time. Everybody notch it up a bit to the expensive Solent and 3 5s. They drank a red wine from Guyana. Well, if you drink that on the night before Christmas, you ain't seen Christmas at all. You were sure to think the yard was your bed, and you'll bust asleep right there. Now, if they pass a piece of pork by your nose, you're still in waking up. So Christmas was love. Love in Sotes, love in Victoria, Grenadians showing love all over the place, drinking sorrel and ginger beer and shaking hands and looking at the starlight and feeling happy. Love over Grenada, love in the Caribbean. Now, if you're in America, and well, away from Grenada, let's just say, and you're fortunate if you're in Brooklyn, find a man called Mr. Charlie Simon from Mount Morris, Because among Morris, Christmas is a great Christmas. If you can't find him, find his son Jude. Try to locate him. Man, they will show you what a Christmas was and is. Christmas, spicy Christmas. Let the love prevail. It was the night before Christmas, and the ginger beer and the sorrel were already made. Anthony Wendell DERIGGS, Recollections of Christmas in the...
Thank you very much, Anthony. Thank you very much. And I knew we would reminisce a little bit about that. You know, a couple of things there jumped out at me. First of all, the shots. You used to buy these little rolls and put them in a toy gun and pack. Yeah, I remember those very well. And the breadfruit roasting, I see here, Lydia James says, breadfruit roasting on an open fire. Yeah, she remembers those very, very well. We have also been joined by T.F. Richards. T.F., you're late this morning. Tell me the truth. You missed the bus, right? I'm only kidding. And I think I'm seeing this name here for the first time. Could be wrong. David E.C. Frost. Hello, David E.C. Frost, who obviously loves Grenada. He says, hello, dearest Grenada and Grenadines. Thank you, Mr. Frost, for joining us this morning. We hope it's the first of several visits you'll be making to us. By the way, folks, remember to like and share the program, please. Like and share the program. Like and share the program. So that's it for the time being. We are going to take a quick little break here and come on back with this week's edition of the Caribbean Literature Quote of the Week. All righty, folks. It's now, let's see here, about 9 minutes away from 10 o'clock. We have now been joined by Judy Lewis Joseph. Hello, Judy. Thanks for joining us. She's saying good morning to you, folks. And Annette Seals. Annette Seals says, really enjoyable. Thank you, Anthony DeRiggs. Love that you mentioned Carly Simon from Mount Morris. Big up, George Grant. Thank you very much, Annette. Carly Simon, not the singer? Carly Simon, the singer from Mount Morris? Nah, different Carly Simon. Lori Bridgman here says, George, it seems to me that soon as this minister gets into power, or the ministers get into power, they get blind. They keep doing the same things over and over. Can't they see it is not working? Time to make changes. Bring the Ministry of Agriculture to Grenville. Those buildings in Simoon, do some renovations to them and make it a skill center for the young youth. So says Lori Bridgman. Lori, I hope they're listening to you this morning. And Lydia James says, when we couldn't buy the gun, we used to dig a hole in the pitch, put the shots in, put a nail in it, and pound it. How many of you remember doing that? How many of you? And she closes by saying, it was more effective than the gun. It was like a bomb. Anthony, you see you got people reminiscing here this morning. So great, so great. Thank you so much. Folks, right now, this week's edition of the Caribbean Literature Quote of the Week. And the lady you're going to see, her name, Renee.
Brought to you by the Grenada Community Library. Welcome to the Caribbean Literature Quote of the Week. Joe laughed loudly. Rita, you listening to him? He wants to buy a house now. Well, is what you think, Joe? You think I want to live in mud house all the days of my life? A lot of all the Indian people, like, they satisfied with that. That is them, but I have ambition, Joe. I take my own time and I learn to read and write a little bit. I wasn't ashamed when I borrowed the first premier book from Henry to learn from. Every night I learn a little bit. More and more I could read as good as Sukudu now. But Tiger, tell me something. You think that because you could read and write, you're better than me? It's not a matter of who is better than who, Joe. It's just me, inside of me. Things I want to learn, things I want to find out. Boy, life was different with you, yes? You grew up in a city, you had a lot of experience. If even you not have education, you're still not a fool. But look at me, a stupid coolie boy from the country can't even read and write. This is what people does say about me. They does call me forthright man. You think I like to remain ignorant? You think I don't want to find out what happened in England and America? Boy, plenty things can change since I come Baratara to live. Yes, people used to laugh and call me little boy. When I go to town, they ignoring me as if I don't exist. The first time I used to think, as long as you have wife and child, you is a man. So long as you drink rum and smoke, you is a man. That is what my father and them tell me. But no, it take more than that. Look at you, you is a man. People will treat you like a man, show you respect. You too true, you see. People will bully you and do as they like. That was a long time, boy. Nobody going to play as if they're better than me from now on. I get an experience, I learning. Just now I'm going to read big books. It's experience that will teach you, not books. This is an extract from the fiction book A Brighter Sun by Sam Sylvan. It is available in the George Parfit Caribbean Collection at the Grenada Community Library, located on number 7 Locust Street, St. George's. The Grenada Community Library will be hosting their 4th anniversary storybook gala at Sales Restaurant and Bar on December 29, 2018. A Brighter Sun by Sam Sylvan is a theme for this year's gala. We invite all to contact the library for further information regarding this event. Grenada Community Library expresses its thanks for the kind support of George Grant and GRENADABROADCAST.com. We wish to express our appreciation to the late George Parfit for his generous contribution to the library. We are grateful to have been the recipient of over 1,200 books, all authored by West Indian and Afro-Americans. We invite you to listen every week. Find us online, share and spread the wealth and worth of our literature and authors, and visit the Grenada Community Library to borrow great books for free.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Renee, and the Grenada Community Library. Folks, it's almost time to pull the curtain down here on this Monday morning. I do hope you have a great week ahead of you. And, throughout the course of the week, you may have to make some decisions and probably harbor a little bit of uncertainty about whether or not you're making the right decision. Well, I'll tell you what, a little wisdom would help. And that's how we're going to close this morning's program. Our inspirational today is actually just one single verse from the book of James. James chapter 1, verse 5 says, "If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you." Short and sweet, simple. I certainly hope you've been spreading the word around that we assemble here every weekday morning, 9 o'clock for Gudday Grenada. And, because we're just about to complete our 14th year of Sundays with George Grant, I think everybody knows about that by now. Can't tell you how many people around the world have been joining us over the last 14 years, and we do extend an invitation to you to join us for this coming week's edition, or let's say the start of next week's edition of Sundays with George Grant, or known affectionately as SWGG. And by the way, once we're plugging programs here, let me also plug for you Mech We Chat. Boy, let me tell you, we have some scorchers going here on a Thursday night. Folks like Beverly Sinclair, Jerry George, Margaret Francis out there in New York. Jerry, by the way, is usually in St. Vincent, but sometimes I think of him as a nomad. He spends his time running around a lot. And then there's Catherine Edwards out there in England as well, and yours truly. We get together at 8 o'clock on Thursday nights. On that note, thank you so much for joining me this morning. God bless you.